Well, it's the third day of nuclear negotiations in Geneva. Iran and the permanent members of the UN Security Council plus Germany have wrapped up the first round of talks over Tehran's nuclear energy program. Now, the negotiations are now adjourned for further internal consultations. Iran's Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif heads the Iranian team, and the EU's foreign policy chief Catherine Ashton represents the P5+1 group of countries. Now, they're trying to hammer out a draft agreement to resolve the decade-old standoff on Tehran's nuclear program. Iran's right to uranium enrichment remains one of the major sticking points in the talks. Tehran has already made it clear that any agreement which does not include the issue of enrichment is not acceptable. The previous round of talks failed to reach an agreement after France, under the influence of Israel, blocked a proposed deal. We're going to cross over to Geneva to our correspondent Ehsan Kevani and get the latest on that situation. Hi, Ehsan. Ehsan, fill us in on the latest that we have right now, please.
Sure, Marcia. On the third day, the tough and detailed negotiations are going on between Iran and the P5+1, and there are still differences over a few articles of the draft the two sides had prepared in the second round of negotiations some 10 days ago. And the two sides, it seems that they disagree on a few articles of the draft. There's still a possibility that the foreign ministers of the P5+1 come to Geneva anytime on Friday, but it all depends on whether the two sides can narrow down their differences over those few articles of the draft or not. We've just conducted an interview with Foreign Minister Zarif, and he just sounded positive about the negotiations, and at the same time he added that it's natural that these talks take time, because there are problems that have not been solved for 10 years, and it's going to take time to sort out those problems. He just added that Catherine Ashton, it's natural that she has a tough job to coordinate all the problems with the 6 countries.
Okay, and have they started on the afternoon session yet, Ehsan?
Currently, the Iranian negotiating team, they're having sessions within themselves, and that's the same on the other side. The P5+1 countries, headed by Catherine Ashton, they're having negotiations within themselves, and it has happened since morning. Every 2 hours they have had sessions together, discussions and negotiations, and then they go for internal negotiations between themselves. And of course, yeah, sure, in the afternoon, the negotiations and talks will go on.